Hopes for a new climate bill out this week are fading as senators say they need more time to flush out cap and trade. Details of more efforts underway, this time in the House, to block EPA from regulating greenhouse gases. And President Obama announces homestar, instant rebates on energy-efficient home improvements.
From the Energy News Center in Washington, D.C., this is the Energy Report with Susan McGinnis.
Good morning, I'm Susan McGinnis. Thanks for joining us for the Energy Report this third day of March 2010. Hopes are now fading for details this week on a compromise Senate climate bill. Our sources from the energy policy sector say lawmakers are still working on details of the proposal. Senators John Kerry, Lindsey Graham, and Joe Lieberman have been working on a bill they hope will attract broad support ever since an early draft of a cap-and-trade bill by Kerry advanced through a committee with no Republican support. There were signs the details may be worked out this week after Majority Leader Harry Reid asked to see a bill as soon as possible. But now Graham tells reporters it will be weeks before a bill comes together, and Kerry says it could happen sometime this month. Lieberman says the three are still working on ways to get the support the bill needs. Graham is saying the economy-wide cap-and-trade provisions are dead. At the ARPA-E Energy Innovation Summit in D.C., we asked Energy Secretary Chu about White House reaction if a bill emerges without a price on carbon.
Let me just say that if you step back and look at how important those long-term signals are, the administration remains committed to saying that. But there are various discussions about whether you put a price on limited sectors versus the whole sector. We need that long-term signal is what I'm going to say and have said, and what the president has said. The more encompassing it is, the more powerful it is.
Also at the conference where dozens of technologies were showcased, DOE made its latest stimulus funding announcement. Chu said $100 million will be made available to heighten U.S. competitiveness in energy, accelerate innovation in green technologies, and create jobs. Also, we talked to the head of ARPA-E, Arun Majumdar, and asked him about the possible incentives on the way for older coal plants to do fuel switching. One thing we're hearing about is proposals coming out of the White House possibly for encouraging older coal plants to do fuel switching, possibly to natural gas or other things.
That's right, and carbon capture.
And that will involve new technology. That's
right, and we have the largest reserves of coal, and if we don't use coal in the right way, we won't be doing the right things. And so it's part of our security to use coal the right way.
Do you see a bigger switch to natural gas?
I think so. We are finding a lot of natural gas right now. So I think certainly the carbon content of natural gas is lower than coal, and utilizing it in an efficient way is absolutely critical for us.
And Secretary Chu also answered our question about White House incentives to repower the nation's older coal plants. You can see his answer as well as my full interview with Dr. Majumdar right here at cleanskies.com. EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson testifies today on Capitol Hill as opposition from lawmakers to the agency's endangerment finding keep on piling up. Republican and Democratic lawmakers in both chambers are trying to block EPA's plan to use its endangerment finding to limit greenhouse gas emissions across industry. Today, Democratic Senator John Rockefeller is calling for EPA to delay any plans to regulate greenhouse gases for 2 years. Earlier this month, Jackson sent a letter to Rockefeller and 7 other coal state senators saying she would delay regulations for a year to give Congress more time to act. Tuesday, House Republicans led by Minority Leader John Boehner of Ohio unveiled the chamber's resolution of disapproval, a formal attempt to block EPA's plans. That's on the heels of the Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski's plans to do the same in the Senate.
These new regulations create more uncertainty, and what small businesses need today are certainty about what's happening here in Washington. And it's not just this new national energy tax. It's going to be imposed by a regulatory scheme. It's the health care bill. It's uncertainty about what the tax rates are going to be, and all the spending and debt. It really amounts to an attack on the private sector. And so small business people are sitting on their hands. They're not investing in their companies. They're not hiring new workers. And so what they need is they need some certainty from here in Washington. And this new effort by the EPA needs to be shut down.
President Obama wants Americans to retrofit their homes with new green technology, and he's offering cold, hard cash to get them to do it. The president visited Savannah, Georgia Tuesday to roll out his Homestar program, also known as Cash for Caulkers. It uses $7.9 billion in stimulus funds to offer homeowners up to $3,000 to buy energy-efficient building materials like windows, doors, and hot water heaters through rebates available at stores like Home Depot and Lowe's. The president spoke at Savannah Technical College, where workers train for green jobs. The president says his plan will not only save energy, but jumpstart the economy.
So we have the potential to create millions of jobs in this sector. These are jobs building more fuel-efficient cars and trucks to make us energy independent. These are jobs producing solar panels and erecting wind turbines. These are jobs designing and manufacturing and selling and installing more efficient building materials, because 40% of the energy we use is used by our homes and buildings. Think about that. All of us know that we use a lot of gas in our cars, but in terms of energy usage, 40% of it goes to our homes and our buildings. So as we're looking for additional initiatives to spur hiring, I think we ought to embrace what's happening on this campus.
Well, the White House hopes consumers will pump up the construction and retail sectors the same way they boosted car and truck sales last year with Cash for Clunkers. Well, among topics at a major energy policy discussion held in Washington this week, the future of nuclear energy in the U.S. Hundreds of energy industry leaders attended the annual Energy Biz Leadership Forum. Among the high-profile speakers, Nuclear Regulatory Commission Chairman Gregory Yazgo. Following his speech at the forum, Clean Sky's Tyler Suiters asked the chairman about the Obama administration's recent federal loan guarantee announcement. Yazgo says this boost to the U.S. nuclear industry won't change the way NRC conducts its licensing process.
I would say in that sense, the loan guarantee doesn't change one way or another how we go about doing that job. Certainly, as we look at all the applications we have out there, if we get into a situation in which our resources were constrained and we didn't have enough resources to work on all the applications, I think we'd want to take a look at those projects, sort of getting that kind of support, and make sure that we put resources to continue our review work on those.
Well, Clean Skies also asked the chairman about the continuous calls from the private sector to streamline the COL process. His response is here on the website, and you can see full interviews with other newsmakers from the energy business event, including Ohio Governor Ted Strickland, all right here at cleanskies.com. A federal appeals court has thrown out a ruling that allowed Mississippi residents to sue energy companies over the effects of global warming. A three-judge panel for a New Orleans appeals court ruled last year the residents had legal standing to sue Murphy Oil and other companies on the argument their emissions contributed to global warming and intensified damage from Hurricane Katrina. The class action lawsuit involved thousands of residents whose property was damaged in the storm against several energy and insurance companies. A trial court originally threw it out. The appeals panel reinstated the case, and now the full court is backing the defendants in an appeal. All 9 judges will rehear the case. Here's a look at some energy goings-on around the Beltway today. The ARPA-E Energy Innovation Summit continues. White House advisors Carol Browner and John Holdren are part of this morning's discussion. Keynote address started at 8:30 at the Gaylord International Conference Center at National Harbor. Clean Skies News is there. Energy Secretary Chu will testify on his agency's budget today before the House Science and Technology Committee. That's at 10 a.m. in Rayburn. An Energy and Natural Resources Committee will discuss President Obama's fiscal 2011 budget proposal for the Department of the Interior. Secretary Ken Salazar testifies at 10 a.m. in Dirksen. That's the Energy Report. Thanks for joining us here in the Energy News Center. For any suggestions or comments about our programming on Clean Skies News, you can email us at contact@cleanskies.com. And a reminder, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Susan McGinnis. You're watching Clean Skies News.